sheet with 2 questions for the workshop, and at each of these workshops we have a couple of questions, and we're going to collate them all at the end of the series of workshops and report back the findings of all these relevant questions to the industry. So the 2 questions are: who should be responsible for managing the BIM process during the design phase, construction stage and project handover? And secondly, how will the BIM process, deliverables and interactions between the project stakeholders be defined? We're going to give you 30 minutes, so that's until 9:50 to discuss in your tables and scribe your results, and then we'll spend about 10 minutes or so doing a quick round table and getting the results and comments from the floor, with the intent of having you finishing up here at about 10 o'clock, which is what we set out to do. So if you take the next 30 minutes just to look at those questions and discuss among your tables. Thank you. The online people know that if you want to send in a question or a comment, it's been manned there. Okay, we're going to spend the next 10 minutes just looking at the answers to these 2 questions. And then we'll have a quick announcement about our next event. I think Alan Hoare wants to make a few quick comments. So looking at the first question: who should be responsible for managing the BIM process during the design phase, construction stage and project handover? So if we're picking numbers at random, and we'll get the view from that table, and then we can jump around. So say table number 6, whatever table number 6 is. Okay, do you have any views on the first question? Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay. Provided protocols are agreed prior to the start. During the construction stage, I think it does come back to the contractor, and during the project handover, again, it's the contractor, but say the likes of the M&E contractors, specialists would have to be responsible for updating models, but that would have to be specified by the contractor to the M&E consultant, or to the M&E contractor during that part of that tender stage.
On this question, we had a conversation at the table, and we believe that one person should act throughout all the stages and phases of the project, be similar to what the PSDP role does at the moment. This will limit the knowledge lost during the phase transfer and supply continuity throughout the process. We believe that the client should appoint the appropriate person with the required skill sets, and to deliver a kind of BIM plan and coordinate the different specializations.
So we actually believe that, very similar to the previous table, that there is a role for a BIM coordinator and manager throughout the 3 phases, and it should be the same person. The specification as defined earlier for the BIM manager would be what we would envisage, and it's for continuity purposes that we're suggesting that. Thank you. An independent consultant responsible for BIM, but not necessarily doing anything other than the BIM coordination, which is a role in its own right.
Yeah, I suppose we were looking at it in a number of ways, and really the responsibility should reflect to a degree who's going to pay and who's going to gain. And I mean, obviously there will be a sharing of benefits between the client and between the different participants. We looked if there was a very large scale project, we thought there was a very clear case that the person would come from the client side. there's another end of the scale where it will be led by the project manager, and the smaller the project is more likely to be the architect will be the driver. But we did feel it depended to a degree on the nature and scale of the project. We also felt that the challenge related to integrating the separate silos we talked about, and the importance that should be given to the sharing of information, but also the protection of the integrity of that information if it is passed from one side to the other.
At this table, we came up with same views as have been shared by the speakers who have already spoken regarding the person who should really be quite experienced and with a very strong construction background. And also, we discussed that it should also depend on the scale of the project and the type of project. If it's heavily oriented towards, say, civils or pharmaceutical, mechanical, whoever is to manage the BIM process should have a very good knowledge in that particular type of work to coordinate the process.
Hi. Yeah, I think following on from Ronan's presentation, we very much agreed that an execution plan was required to be prepared for the project, and we saw this being prepared by a BIM manager. Just the notes that we had on the plan in general was that, with regards to buy-in to it, that it was essential that BIM is contained in any agreements that the design team, contractors and subcontractors will have to ensure that they bought into it and engage with the process. And the other thing that we kind of held on to was the stakeholders, and very much that the client should be a key player in how the project is run and what process is used, and they must be fully aware of what they are doing and buying into when they specify a BIM project. And the other thing that we felt essential for an execution plan was the standards to which the model was to be built with, or the models to be built with.
Hi. We agree that the BIM execution plan is essential. We kind of came up with two options, maybe, of who specifies BIM and who specifies the process. The client can specify the deliverable, and he can specify, if that deliverable is in a certain platform in a certain way, he can affect the BIM process. Otherwise, they could get a BIM project manager in to create the BIM execution plan, and then he defines the BIM process deliverables and interactions. So it really depends on if it's a private client that can, if it's a public client, maybe not. But by the deliverables, because that's what we're getting at the end of the day, that can drive the BIM process and the interactions between the consultants.
Yes, we felt, I think, by agreement that it depended on the project type, size and contract type. We thought that some kind of scope of works was necessary for each of the disciplines. to be laid out very clearly. We wondered also about how integrated the project is. That's a key issue. One view was that that it is necessary to have a BIM plan in place outlining the exact responsibilities. Another view noted a degree of mutual responsibility for some design and performance issues of a building over time. So there was much discussion on this. There wasn't total one particular view.
The next event, the next talking series will be on April 24th with Paul Waddy, who's Managing Director of BIM Consulting. But before that, Alan Hoare would just like to say a few brief words. Thank you, Alan.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'd just like to thank Ronan for a truly excellent presentation. I said one word to him when I sat beside him and said, wow, that was really superb. The passion was eminent to see. And also the excellent chairmanship of Damien this morning, one of the fellow directors in the Alliance. Just on behalf of my fellow directors and indeed the wider membership, I'd like to acknowledge the contribution as well of the backroom team, Suzanne, Barbara, Carol and Barry, for all their hard work in putting this together. We were joined this morning by 71 people online, and we had, I think, a peak of 88 people in the room, which is absolutely fantastic. We're looking forward to seeing you at the next meeting. I wanted to just highlight one sheet in the pack, which is of critical importance to us and hopefully to you. It's our CITAEIN announcement of the courses that we're running this year. A lot of hard work over the last few months went into complying with the public procurement guidelines of SkillNets, where we had to go out to tender. We had to receive tenders back, we had to analyse those tenders with our steering group, and we've selected a number of preferred training providers, and we can see the courses that are on offer. Obviously BIM features extensively in that course offering. I'm also delighted to announce that we have a new SkillNet network manager, Carol Hewitt, who's just recently joined us, and Carol got off to a flying start, and hopefully you'll be ringing her over the next 6 to 9 number of months booking courses. I want to just make a quick announcement on the CITA Masters programme. Applications are currently open for the CITA Masters programme. We're going to offer modules on an individual basis if people are interested in that. We're introducing 4 new modules into the programme, which are pure BIM. We've got data management, BIM execution and protocols, sustainable BIM, and social, cultural and change management for BIM. So there's 4 new modules going into the programme. Depending on the modules you select on the programme, you could come out with a pure BIM MSc, because we have an integrated project, which is an integrated BIM project. We also have traditional research studies and obviously the dissertation. I'm delighted to announce that we've actually secured 2 students in Australia to do the course, who are going to be resident in Australia, 1 in Switzerland and also 2 in the UK. So this is going to be truly an international programme. Because it's done online, you could do it from any corner of the world you wish. Now, those, obviously SkillNets only fund the Irish, the people in Ireland. So if you are in a working city, if you're working or you have your own business, you can get up to 30% discount on the fees. We have limited spaces for people who are receiving unemployed benefit. 22% of the total intake can avail of 0 fees. So keep an eye out for the course. We're advertising it on the DIT site, the CITA site. We're going to do a few features in the national press after the Easter break. We are going for a new DIT validation on the programme. We're looking at changing the title to a Masters in Building Information Management, and as I said, we are looking at adding 4 new modules, and that will require some international validation from a panel of experts. So, if you're interested, it's a great course, and these are the courses that are going to create the BIM managers of the future and the future innovators in this particular sector. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you in about a month's time. Thank you.